Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Mecca of Banter podcast. We've got 5 of the fellas here tonight. We are delighted that you are tuning into this week's episode. We've got a lot of great content for you. First, we're going to start off with some intros. I'm your host this week, Bucci Main, and I'm going to start off with the man who is now a married man. Just got back from his honeymoon. Shout out to Henry for his big wedding. How you doing, man?
Bro, I'm doing so well. It's nice to be back on the pod. It's a great week to be a Manchester United fan. I didn't know where you were going on the he's recently a married man, because we also have Conderson Dobry, who's a married man now. So we have a lot of celebrations. Yeah, a lot of celebrations going around. I'm happy to be here. I'm a little tan. Was in the sun for a week.
Call it tan.
But we have St. Louis City to talk about this week too, and I'm stoked to do that. So it's good to see you fellas.
Yes, we do, brother. It's nice to have the MLS back. And good shout out by you. I was going to say our other married man, Dobes. Dobes,
Yes,
how are you, brother? Recently married? Baby on the way, man.
0 to 100, fellas. No, I'm good, fellas. I will say I was about 25 minutes Saturday morning from the lowest of the possible low. But Bruno Fernandes, man, he did it again. He dug us out of a hole. Went to the City game on Saturday night as well. Intros killed it. I know we'll get into it more, but that was a blast as well. Just so fun being back at City Park. The energy was buzzing. So all in all, solid weekend, fellas. It's good to be here. Good to see you boys.
You too, brother. I was really jealous when you sent the intro of the City game,
Dude,
on video.
Unreal. So good.
So cool. And we'll talk about that too. But next up, we got our boy, Hafey. I know Chelsea lost, but how are you doing, bro? You okay, man? Hanging in there?
I don't want to be here at all. There's only one reason I am here this week, and that's to see that beautiful mustache on your face. Besides that, I'm only here so I don't get fined and get a bunch of shit from you guys. I was hoping St. Louis City would provide some bright spark to my weekend, and they didn't really. I mean, yeah, the performance
You got Rashford, man. You got Rashford.
Yeah. It's going to be a fun one. As always, you can find me on Twitter at Hafey4. Excited.
Yes, sir, brother. Happy to have you here. And lastly, our boy, Hoove Magoof, off a 4-1 win for the Spurs. Look at you all piped up over there, boy. What's up, man?
What's up, boys? How we doing? Butchie, so glad to have you back. Needed this face back on the pod. It's a pleasure every time you're here. I'm doing great. Had a sobering cardio performance last night at the footy. So I was just out for a quick run, realizing that I definitely just let that part of my life go since probably high school. But yeah, we're back in it. We're back on the cardio fitness grind. Feeling good, feeling great. Spurs currently have the longest win streak in the Premier League. You'll never sing that. We're back. I'm feeling great. This is fantastic. Let's rip.
The Mecca Sunday League is right around the corner, and Hoover's like, "Fuck, I gotta start.
I gotta put in some shifts because whatever I had built up from the last outdoor season, completely gone.
I don't think I've touched the ball. I don't think I've touched the ball since the last.
I didn't
Sunday
until last night. And then combined with a bad touch and zero cardio does not make for a great athletic performance. So
I'm pumped for our Sunday League team to get rolling. It's gonna be awesome. I will shout out Winks. I know you can't make it tonight, brother. We love you, but we are still talking so much shit on Arsenal because according to Griff, that was supposed to be a guaranteed win, quote unquote. That was from Griff. So we are going to talk about the Arsenal a little bit. Sad you couldn't make it tonight, brother, but we send our best to you. We're going to start off with St. Louis City, fellas. MLS is back. There were some juicy performances from around the MLS league on Saturday and Sunday. But St. Louis City, obviously, being our club. Let's talk about 0-0 draw versus Colorado Rapids at home to kick off the season. Dobes was obviously in attendance, but I believe all of us watched it at home. So first thing is perspectives. I mean, what stood out to you guys or what did not stand out in a negative way in terms of our new manager Olaf's first game?
I think the first thing that stood out to me was the lineup.
There was a little puzzling for sure.
Yeah, there was a lot of it that made a lot of sense. Like I expected to see Klaus in there, expected to see Hartle in there, Leuven, some of those guys. But I think the biggest surprises for me came with the inclusion of Kyle Hebert and Josh Yarrow. No slight to those guys, but I think just with what we had on the bench, or seemingly what we had on the healthy roster list, it seemed like we had some guys that we would have rather put in those positions. But other than that, to be honest with you, there wasn't a whole lot of negative perspective that stuck out to me. I was so pleased with the performance, and obviously would have loved all 3 points, but I feel like a night and day difference from last year in terms of what we saw defensively and in the attack. So I'm really optimistic. I'll just call out one. I'll call out one performer, Leuven. I thought Leuven, for the 65 minutes that he played, was probably the most engaged we've seen Edward Leuven in a year. He was looking for the ball at every single opportunity. It was so clear that like the defense and Akil Watts, whenever they won the ball, the first pass was to Edward Leuven. He was dropping in deep. He was receiving a 5-yard pass, turning, spraying. I was super impressed with him. I love to see it.
Yeah, I'll piggyback off that a little bit, just in terms of the biggest thing I took away was the defensive shape. I think that's one of the few things that when you look at a preseason, it's very tough with so much of a switch of lineups in preseason games to really build that attacking momentum going forward. So I'll give us a pass in terms of happy with the 0-0 result in the first game, just based off the fact that I think we all agree that back three is probably not like our ideal back three. And same thing goes with the wingbacks with Tottenham and Horn on both sides. But I will say that, we were better in possession. We'd seen us for the majority of last season, but I was more so impressed with how we were without the ball. The ball switching to both sides of the field. Horn and Tottenham were not scared whatsoever to press a little bit forward in that defensive, the defensive shape. And then Kessler, I know for most people was the man of the match, but it was just watching from sort of that second level at City Park and seeing that every time that Tottenham or Horn did take that advantage of pressing a little high and they tried to play those channels, Kessler was almost like a sweeper in that back three a little bit and just sort of ate everything up. Overall was kind of like Hen said, I was happy with the performance. I think we 100% deserved 3 points out of that game, which is kind of, we don't want to make a habit of that. But I will say that, like you said, there's kind of the little critiques and things we'll say here and there. Like I think Horn should probably play as that left-sided center back more so in that left wing back role. Mm-hmm. But all in all, there's a ton of, good performances from the fellas, especially just having, 2 or 3 weeks of preseason. So I think a ton of aspects to build on.
Yeah, shutouts huge there. I regardless of
there wasn't a shot on goal, I don't think.
I know.
We didn't let when was the last time we had a 0-0 match?
I will say Colorado sucked.
Well, it was interesting. Like they weren't good, but also this is a team that wiped the floor with us last year.
Yeah.
No, you're not wrong with that, but like they were not impressive at all.
Yeah, I even
whatsoever.
think of like Jordy Mihailovic. Like I think he's a dog.
He's a baller.
He's
a baller.
He killed us last year, and he was completely absent for the game. And granted, they did play midweek, so maybe there was a little bit of fatigue, but. Yeah, I just think that we just had their numbers, and it made me laugh. You brought up Kessler, Dobes, but there was a play in the first half where Kessler intercepted a pass, dribbled 2 forwards, and then broke the lines on a run with the ball. And I literally laughed out loud, and I was like, can you imagine Tim Parker trying that? Like, I still think to this day that we absolutely fleeced the New England Revolution on that swap. Yeah, just like I think that we got a gem with Kessler, and he played super well.
I never thought I would say this, and I think Dobes kind of hit it on the head. But the structure of our defense and the 3 center backs, I actually liked because it fits our I talked about it all last year with the center back partnership. Mm-hmm. Like we never had enough talent in that position to where we could play 2 of them, and now that we have 3 of them, I really like it because it makes us more. Yes, we have 5 people playing defense now, and it's more defense heavy, but like it gives us that opportunity for Josh to step in the midfield and make some of those tackles, knowing he has 2 other center backs behind him guarding the runs in behind. Mm-hmm. Because before he'd make that step, and sometimes a ball would get slipped because we were off that positioning. Now that we have 2 back there, I think it's a lot more security for us. But I agree with, and same thing offensively, like the ability for Kessler to take that ball into the next level. Like I think he has more freedom now, knowing he has 2 center back people behind him.
Yeah. And I love that, and I think Josh and Kyle played very admirably. while we would not consider them our first, choice center backs. Kessler said something in his post-game interview about this system, and Olaf has kind of given him the license to make a progressive carry here and there. And I love that. I've watched Christian Romero for the last couple of years, and he's so good at beating one defender, one pressing attacker, and then finding an outlet ball. Josh tried it once or twice. That's not his strong suit. I don't think he loves that. Kessler did it really well. But then when they did, and Josh, made a wayward pass or didn't connect where we wanted to, I'm watching the play come backwards, and I'm sitting next to my friends. I was like, all right, who's covering? Someone's got to cover. Someone's got to cover. Akil Watts was there every time.
Yeah.
I thought he played really well. I thought he slid in on the back line every single time he needed to. I think he's got the defensive abilities to do that tracking while also having the foot skill to, pull himself out of a tight space and find, a wing back. So pleasantly surprised with the back five. I think Wallam's going to be a shoo-in over Horn or Hebert, whoever's going to play at that left wing back. He had 6 minutes and looked considerably more dangerous than Horn did the entire game. So I really liked what I saw, and being there and watching 0-0 sucks. 0-0 sucks. I understand it. But I was the Debbie Downer walking out of the game, looking at my buddies like, how isn't that bad? There's some really good stuff about that. I know.
The one thing that was a little bit weird for me, and this is where Twitter is so odd. In our group chat, we were talking, at halftime, kind of throughout the game. The one player that I felt like was completely absent from the entire game, was Marcel Hartl. Like I felt like was just, the game passed him by. Like I don't really remember too many like big things that he did to be really dangerous. And at halftime, I was kind of like, I kind of forgot he was on the field. But then you go on Twitter after the game, and people are giving like Hartl like raving reviews as being like one of the top 3 performers. I just didn't really see it during the game. It was confusing to me.
I will say the one thing that Hartl is so good at, and I think it's just because of his experience and just the level of player he's at. But the little things that you kind of notice about him sometimes is those, like, when we have the ball in the final third and the ball finds his feet, he's almost good at just keeping it. Like, he's good at finding the ball in the half space, taking 1-2 touch, finding Tottenham as he's coming around, or just allowing us to keep possession. But I do think that, and it was, shout out Chat City Tactics, that Michael, we've had him on a bunch of times. Yeah, I almost butchered that. Sorry, Michael. But I know he mentioned like his sort of like actions creating to shots or something like that. And I think he was like in the whole MLS, I think he was like second or third with like 9. I don't remember a single one of those shots like leading to a chance on goal, which I think to me is the difference between that. So I think that's going to be one of those with him just in time. If we can find him in those dangerous areas and allow him to create a little more, I think he's going to do that. A player that I want to shout out that I don't think anybody else is necessarily going to shout out, that I think has the potential for a big role with us this season, surprisingly, is Morales. Who we brought off the bench. Like, we haven't had that, like, I don't want to say like for like in terms of like him and Lewin, but he has that technical ability and gift on the ball where you could tell the moment he came in the field, he did that, all right, come on, boys. And even after he brought that confidence to where you just saw him going to demand the ball from all over the field. He wanted the ball at his feet.
Yeah. And your favorite term, the metronome.
The metronome.
Yes.
He demands the ball. And I do see a world where and I think Akil should play somewhere. I also think he can play 5 different positions in the system if he really needed him to. But I'm excited to see what Morales can bring in the midfield, just in terms of he brought that ton of confidence to the end of the game.
And I think it shows a lot of how much Olaf trusts him to bring him on so quickly.
Yeah, I liked what I saw from him.
I was going to say, too, I think the biggest thing that Olaf has at his hands is how can he get Klaus to break out more, because
it's a hot topic in the streets right now.
It is, because last year he was so disappointing. I know he had some injuries, but his first year he did really well. He lit up the league. How can he get him to break out of that shell and be back to his self 2 years ago? By building around him. I think Hartel, I know Henry said he wasn't the best, performer on Saturday. I think he could be a phenomenal asset to Klaus if we get him at his best. And Tukert, who came off the bench, obviously, I think Tukert needs to be playing. He needs to be a starter for me.
Yeah.
Finding a way to fit him in the system and get him a lot of minutes to, play off of Klaus and play off of Hartel. Let those three play and let those three combine with each other. And then Betcher can be a good piece.
I'm Team Betcher, man.
Dude,
so that's
he's going to make it hard on anyone up there.
He is.
So Teutschert was he for me was in the starting 11, but he was in Germany for the entire week leading up to it, dealing with the green card thing. So he didn't even train with the team before the first game. So him coming off the bench, when the lineup came out, I was a little bit surprised to see Simon in there, but then the broadcast was he hasn't trained in over a week.
This is for the guys in Hoove as well. Did they show a good angle of Betcher getting in what's the goalie's name? Zach Steffen's head?
Yes.
Because I was sitting directly over the north end and Steffen was trying to set his wall and Betcher was just standing there, just not letting him look to either side. It was the ref kept trying to move him and he's like, I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm not doing anything wrong. And then he rang the post.
Yeah, dude, it was great. But I think the Klaus thing is interesting. So we had a really cool opportunity and shout out the Soccer Dad podcast. We got to do a live recording with them over the weekend that'll come out this week. So make sure you give that a listen. But they asked the same question about, how does Olaf, get the best out of Klaus? And, Klaus is an interesting one because I think that there's a world where he definitely could be our bagsman. But what he's shown last year and, so far this year is that he almost likes to create more than he likes to actually be the goal scorer, which is fine if you're not going to be a DP9. If you're going to be our DP9, we need you to score goals. So if there's a world that, Lutz and Carolyn Kindle and Klaus's agent can come to an agreement that hey, we want you to stay in St. Louis, but we don't want you to take that DP slot. So we're going to use our GAM and TAM or whatever the fuck rules there's in the MLS to pay his contract down. I'm cool with that. But if he doesn't want to do that, if he wants to stay in that DP slot as a 9, we need him to start producing. So I think that there's a world, Hoover, like you said, that Simon's going to make it really hard to leave him out. I think he had 7 shots on goal. Every time he touched the ball looked dangerous. And when Cedric Teutschert came in, I was shocked that it was for Simon. I would have put any amount of money that he was going to take Klaus off and let Cedric and Simon go at it. So I don't really know what's going to be the right thing to kind of unlock him, because it feels like more than anything, one of the things I love most about Klaus is how unselfish he is with his running and making the runs into the channels to clear out
just
that space
workhorse
in the middle. But
he is.
He took that one shot that he kind of bent it to the far post right on the outside of the post, but that was his only even attempt of a shot the entire game. So I don't know. I don't know what the answer is there, but he's going to be a hot topic for the entire season.
Give him it's a new season. You know what I mean? Give him a few weeks before we really sort of jump on that. It's not the Jack Grealish situation where he literally didn't score for a calendar year. I'm a big believer.
Every time he's in, he's gonna work hard, and I'm always gonna love that.
But Simon Betcher's on a fourth of what he is, the money that he's on, and he always works hard. To me, when you're a DP
I was
player,
talking about Betcher. I was saying.
Oh no, I thought you were talking about Klaus. No, because the thing with Klaus is I do think Klaus works hard too. That's my biggest thing, and I've seen it all over Twitter with Klaus. Is dude, you're a DP9 in the MLS. If we want to do something, if you look at the teams that have consistently won, they have a 9 that's dangerous or scoring double-digit goals every single season. And I think that's the minimum expectation that we need from a striker, but not just a striker, a DP striker at that.
Yeah,
I think one thing that Olaf and the system is going to help with, where all we've known the last 2 years is 1, maybe 2 loose 3 style of play and structure and setup. With the flexibility that we have now, we saw attacks coming from different positions, different places, and different movements. So there were a lot of balls crossed into the box. I loved that. You've got 2 guys who are, Klaus is an absolute dog in the box. That's not what he necessarily prides himself on, but he's a huge, big man. He'll get to the ball. I think he had 2 headed attempts on net. So that combined with Hartle through the middle, I think there's going to be more opportunities for him, whereas we saw him so dependent on Nico Giacchini in the first season and Lowen up higher to be able to feed him through, through balls and stuff. We're seeing it come from different areas. And I'm honestly chalking up the fact that we didn't score a goal to rust. And, I think Michael on Chat City said it too, but our defensive position looks so much better than our offensive ideas. Yeah. So I'm really, really hoping that we're going to see finishes come more in the coming weeks, because they'll probably have a little bit more of an idea on what to do in what scenario. And they're going to vary in how they come from, width or through the middle or through balls and slot backs. Like I'm excited and hoping that he does, I need 10 goals out of the guy, or else I think there's conversations that we can start having.
I also think from this year to last year, and yes, it's a small sample size of one game, but like this is like the comparing to United in the way that it's very tough to be a 9 in a system where the rest of the system isn't clicking. Like it's very tough when you're not defensively sound like St. Louis City was. It was very tough when you have so many injuries in the center midfield and all over the field. I think if we're defensively sound and the one thing that we have to tweak is how we go forward, I think that is a ton easier to do. It's a ton easier to do than fixing the entire defensive structure. So that's where it's like, take the one game with one game. And if we can build on that, I think between Tukert, who's a dog in the box, Klaus, who can be a dog in the box, Betcher, sneaky, really good at heading in the box, is kind of a poacher. There's the chance to score some goals, especially if you play Wallerman, I think, left wing back, to where he can whip some balls in from the left side, just like we saw Tottenham do a few times on Saturday.
The other thing that stood out. Go ahead, Nikki.
I was going to say, I'm assuming it was Hoover who posted the tweet, but the one that you said, Betcher for a shot on goal is going to be a good hit in the future was spot on, because I completely agree with that. Anytime that man's 7. Playing, he's going to have a shot on goal.
Yeah, he had 5. I think I'm on 5 now, but good chances.
One of the things that I also thought kind of towards the end of the game was like we didn't see Celio come onto the field. There was a couple of guys that we didn't see, and I was like, this is the first time I think in our history that we have depth that like we could have brought on a couple of different guys in the attacking half of the field that would have made a difference. And I'm like, that's cool.
No Celio upset me.
Yeah,
we said it on the we said on the Soccer Dad pod. This is the most talented team we've had yet.
I think the thing is, like, if you were to bring Celio on the field, who would you have brought him in for? Is the question.
Where do you play him, dude?
Where do you play him?
The biggest concern for him this year is where is he going to play?
I thought it would be a Leuven. I thought, but then I liked the sub we made.
I also think that there's a world that like he could, pull off like Josh, slot Totland into the right back and put Celio out on a wing back position on the right or the left side. There's also a world that like Hartle could slot into like a winger position. There's just a couple of different things. I mean, that's why Olaf is getting paid the money that he's getting paid to figure out where he's going to fit those guys. I mean, Celio played as a striker all through preseason, so I don't know.
To me, it's just like if you're playing Horn on that left side,
just a waste.
He didn't offer a ton of going forward. I'm not even saying don't play him. I'm just saying then allow Totland the freedom on that right side, keep Horn back, put Celio as one of the 10s, and allow Celio to drift out and be that left wide, presence, and then allow Hartle to kind of just be a proper 10 a little bit. Mm-hmm. So there is some flexibility there. It's just one of those like 0-0 in a winnable game, like. Bring on your most creative player.
Throw him on.
I'm okay with them being careful with him too, though. Let's not forget that he twisted his ankle 180 degrees. But it did feel good too. You could kind of tell that Olaf in his post match he was kind of pissed. Like he was like, we did everything right except score a goal. He's like, we dropped points today. This is a game that we need to win. I was like, hell yeah, Olaf. That's what I'm loving. This 1 point's not going to come back to help us in the future. No, you drop points. Let's get it.
But I do have a question. Did you shave your beard because you saw Olaf's beard and you're like, it'll just never be what his is?
Bro, not only does the dude have a great beard, but I can't fucking wait until summer comes and that motherfucker's wearing flip flops on the fucking sideline, bro. I will lose it. He's a G, bro. He has better beard than me. I'm gonna say it straight up, man.
Aura. I'm telling you, bro.
Straight aura, bro. That's going to do it for our city talk this week. A lot of good analysis from the boys here. We're going to shift over to the Prem, our favorite thing to talk about, man. We're going to start with Manchester United, Everton, the 6:30 kickoff from Saturday morning, a 2-2 draw. Man.
Tale of two halves.
Halves. I know Dobes' butthole puckered up a little bit during that game. But, I mean, what is your guys' analysis?
Dope said in the intro that he was 25 minutes away from being the lowest of lows. I just want to just put you in my mind for a second. I came off my honeymoon. I landed in St. Louis at like 12:30 in the morning. I didn't go to bed until 1:45 in the morning. I woke up at 6:15 and I was like, thank God. We have Everton. Like, we're going to play well. And through fucking 60 minutes, I was like, exhausted, so angry, like I wanted to throw up. I literally stopped watching in the first half. I like started cleaning my house because I was like, this fucking sucks. Regrouped at halftime, and thank God we pulled away with a point.
We just literally, you could like play what I've said the last couple of weeks and just like insert it right here, and all the things would be the exact same.
Yes.
I don't know.
Like I don't know, man. Left nut.
I was so happy for that Ugarte goal. 'Cause, from my perspective here, I did not wake up to watch this game. I woke up. There's about 30 minutes left, and it was 2-0. We're literally about to go record with the Soccer Dads at Amsterdam at 9:30, and I was like, "Oh no!" And I actually felt bad for you guys. I was like,
they didn't know they're about to get a demon. Yeah, they didn't know they're getting a demon in about 25 minutes. I don't know, man. We've seen. I don't even know how to describe some of the defending that we saw on both of the goals that they scored. Like, just the lack of awareness, just like the inability to head a ball out. Mm-hmm. Like, for as good as Harry Maguire has been in terms of being in that center back, that center of that back three, for him to not win that head ball that Beto scored the second goal, it's just like what. That's the one thing that you're supposed to be known for. If somebody's supposed to be like, what is Harry Maguire good at? He's got a big head and he can head the ball. Like, that's his thing. That's your thing, dude. Do your thing. And he got dunked on. I don't know. I will say the one thing, we watched Casemiro chase shadows for the second game in a row, and Bruno Fernandes dropping deep, playing a little bit deeper, changed the entire game for us. That's where we got a little bit more possession in terms of just dictated the game. I just don't understand why it takes us to score for us to all of a sudden be like, we can go win this game. Mm-hmm. Like, that Everton team was the same from the time that Bruno scored the free kick to the first few minutes of the game. Yes, it's a tough place to play, but at the same time, we have the players, no matter how many injuries we got, to be able to keep the ball and boss the game to them. It's one of those, it's like credit to us for going to get a 2-2 draw, but at the same time, like even Emmerich said it, like that first half was not recognizable to our standards, and we've had some pretty fucking low standards over the past couple of weeks, and that was even worse than what we'd expected. So honestly, like I said, we watched Liverpool, one of the best teams in the world, go there and get a draw 2 weeks ago. From us being down 2-0 and bringing it back 2-2, I'll take it 100%. The Ugarte finish it was
awesome.
Was the left-footed, weak foot. I'll take it 100%. And it's one of those, like, we've been bad. We've been really bad over the past 2 weeks. We haven't been Chelsea though. Like, we were not Chelsea bad over the last 2 weeks. We're not. That's just a fact. We're not. We've been really bad. We're not Chelsea bad.
It's funny. That's what keeps me sane, is I keep telling myself I'm not United or Spurs. So
it's crazy. We've all been how that works.
Funny how that works.
Seeing Marcus Rashford, seeing Marcus Rashford come on and do his thing made the tie seem even worse. But it's just Ipswich Wednesday. It should be a guaranteed win. It's 100% not.
Dude, I didn't get to watch the game. I was quite sick last week. I had a cold, and I slept in Saturday. And I woke up, saw the score, and I legitimately thought to myself, I was like, I feel like Henry and Dobes would legitimately full-on vasectomy. You would give up your nuts to have Isak playing as your forward, because when you watch Højlund play, It is legitimately like
A high
it's
school
beyond
Dude.
frustrating, dude. It's like his FOT mob rating every week's like 5.3.
Brother,
bad. Like,
brother,
dude,
he's the
5.1.
this Hoover's not going to like this because it is on FOTMob, and this is where you know that the stats are wrong. In Hoyland's
I saw
situation,
this.
do you see the Archie Gray thing?
Yeah.
Dude, like statistically, FOTMob out of like the 290 players, their average match ranking, Hoyland is like 5th from bottom in terms of average match rating.
That's
It's
insane.
so bad though.
But here's the deal. We did see the previous games in the Tottenham game, Spurs game. Cheeto Obi played 3 minutes at the very end of the game, 3-minute debut. This game, he came on with like 25 minutes left in the game. He did a little bit more, made way more, smart runs, more intelligent runs into the final third. He linked play better, but still, our team wasn't looking for him.
Yeah.
There was like multiple runs that he made near post, back post, through the middle that we had the opportunity to slip him in. And
he was in on that one if he had a better touch too.
Dude,
just got away from
him.
Yeah.
But so that's the thing. Like, I know that Rasmus hasn't been playing well. I don't really think anyone has. And he's so shot of confidence. It's so easy to see that. But like, you also throw in a different striker who is making those runs, and the team's not looking for him either. So it's this really weird thing right now where it's like, Twitter's also, it's always a war zone in the Manchester United Twitter.
We just cut 200 more jobs, and they're serving cutting staff
soup and
lunches.
sandwiches, But the thing is like, you have half the fan base who is like, get rid of him. He's the worst player I've ever seen. Then you have the other half of the fan base being like, he never needed to be the starting striker at 19 years old. Like, we needed a more solidified striker for him to learn from, and here he is, he's not performing. Now, that doesn't excuse him not being able to literally hold the ball at all, or him not being able to pass the ball at all. That's a problem. But like, I'm kind of convinced at the moment that like, you could stick anyone up there as your striker, and unless they have a moment of brilliance where they dribble the entire team and do something crazy, United's not looking for that striker. They're not looking to whip balls in and create chances for him. Like, it's just, it's tough.
We got through it though, man. That was one of those where Hoove woke up in my group message with Hen and Hoove, and there was like 30 minutes left, and Hoove just texted, and I just was like, "Not now, Andy. We're fighting for our lives, dude."
Not now.
I was like, "Not now, Hoove."
The first thing I said when I woke up literally was, "Morning, lads."
But the thing is that I do think, Dope said that, we have Ipswich midweek, and it is, it should be a win. I don't know if it will be. If I'm Amarim, I'm starting Cheeto Obi in the Ipswich game. There's no reason not to. Like, the biggest games for us moving forward is our cup games. The Premier League really doesn't matter from here moving forward. We're not getting into the top 10. We're not getting into the top 4. Like, we're also not going to get relegated. Like, we're in this space where it just doesn't really matter. So like, I'm going to Ipswich, at home, and I'm starting Cheeto Obi. I'm rotating the squad. I'm like trying to get some guys hungry. I think that there's a pretty big opportunity to introduce like between 1 and 3 academy graduates into this team by the end of the season, because we really gotta put on against Sociedad. We really gotta put on against Fulham in the cups. So I don't know.
The thing that I think about Hoyland is, if he was doing some of those not necessarily goal scoring or goal creating actions,
if he was João Klaus, I'd be happy.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
For real.
My direct observation,
that type of effort,
My direct observation is Xerxes, who I don't think is also going to come in and grow up to light the world on fire. I think he's a solid player. He's doing some of that, right? He gets the ball, he makes a really solid progressive carry, he'll beat a guy, and then he'll find a pass. And I saw a clip not all that long ago today of like fed one to Garnacho and then made a great run going to the corner, and Garnacho just didn't feed him. Hoyland's not done any of that for me.
Yeah.
Like, there's not been any actionable or memorable performances where I'm like, oh, there's a play. Like, this guy's got something.
It's so
like,
weird, too. The confidence is, like, we said it earlier, but the confidence is completely gone. I even remember there was a couple of times last year, even when he wasn't scoring, because if you remember, it took him, like, several games to score in the Premier League. But, like, there are times that, like, he would make a run, and like the team wouldn't slip him in or they wouldn't cross, and he would like yell at the other players, being like, "Yo, you gotta feed me the
Bro,
ball."
a year ago, before we got knocked on the Champions League, he led the group stage in goals in the whole Champions League.
Yeah, he was
And that
scoring.
player's, we haven't seen even a shell of that player in months.
Yeah, that's what's confusing. The drop off between last year and this year it's crazy. So yeah, like Dope said, midweek should be a win against Ipswich. Don't know if it will be, but I will say this: Dorgu was awesome again.
Bald.
He was really good.
He was
We
good
don't
on
need to
that
talk
left
about it
side,
forever,
man.
but he was really good.
Him
Garnacho
and Bruno linked up really well a few times.
Yeah, Garnacho was really good when he came on. But I will say, during the Soccer Dad podcast, we took an intermission, and Dobes and I walked up to the bar to refill the table.
It's like a quick intervention.
And I looked at Dobes and I go, "Man, we fucking suck." It's like we're so bad.
Oh.
So Manchester United, it's tough, but I hope to God we beat Ipswich. I hope to God. We'll see.
Hey, we'll see, brother.
Yeah.
But shifting gears to another team that is low in the table, but had a great result, Tottenham Hotspur. Who?
Tottenham Hotspur.
4-1, brother. 4-1.
Tottenham till they kill me, dude.
Literally.
Yeah, 3 points. It's a win streak, lads. You put 3 in a row, it's a streak. Quick early takeaways. 1 game of week Sunny is a different Sunny than 2 games a week Sunny. I've been on this podcast saying he's washed. I've been on this podcast saying it's time to move on. He's lost the step. It turns out when you play 90 minutes twice a week for 4 months in a row, that might end up taking a toll on a 32-year-old. It was evident he was creating space. His creating ability has, like I've said this a million times. I said this about Wayne Rooney. I've said this about Mesut Ozil. I've said this about, there's a million guys that you can look back at. The former stud goal threats that everyone knew and loved, as they grew older, they changed their game. They have to be more dangerous to provide in some other capacity outside of just being the guy that's the bagsman. And I'm watching him now be the central playmaker from left wing. Archie Gray found him over the top for a really, really good shifty drive to the line set up for Brennan Johnson. And then again, Bentancur slid him through. He's back in again on the wing, running with the defense. Shifty setup for Brennan Johnson. So it's been great to see him get some rest and look like he's got some, rejuvenation under him. And yeah, my other quick takeaway is Brennan Johnson. Is he the guy that's going to carry Spurs to the top? No. Is he a flashy, take a player on, beat him on the wing, cross the ball in the box winner? No. That's not leaving me a ton of, accolades to give him here, but he's in the right spot at the right time all the time.
Dude, he's so fast.
He's so fast. He reads the game
Emo?
really, really well. I will not have to see him on a football pitch in a Spurs kit ever again. I am more than happy about that. Maybe speaking too soon. He might be back eventually. But Brennan Johnson, he's just never going to light the league on fire. But it was, watching the games where he wasn't playing on the wing and just game plan is get to the byline, cross the ball, get to the byline, cross the ball. We've seen his back post tap-ins over and over and over. People are calling him a tap-in merchant.
It's his signature, bro. He always just finds a way.
He just finds a way, and none of it's flashy, but damn, is it appreciated, and it gets the job done. Sonny had been sliding ball after ball after ball across the 18 and getting to the end of the line and going across the net. No one's ever there. He's always there. He was there twice again against Ipswich. So those are my 2 really big takeaways. I think Dorgu, I saw this on Twitter, and I can't take the credit for the joke, but Dorgu is who I thought Dragishin was going to be. Like, he's not amazing, but he's really, really serviceable. He's got the ability to pick up the ball and break a line and drive. His long-range passing's fine. But defensively, he's super solid. He's an animal. I've been really impressed with him, and Archie Gray has just not missed a step for me either. But God, man, is Jed Spence a baller? Like, are we watching like a rejuvenation of of a stud that we all thought was gonna be a stud? Like, I think so. I think he's shooing himself in right now above Pedro Porro. Started this game over Pedro Porro, and I think for the foreseeable future in big games, he's going to play over Pedro
Bro,
Porro.
he fits in that system with just license to do what he does best.
So good.
You know, like when you give him a little bit of freedom, he's the guy that's going to take a mile, and if he can do it effectively, he's unplayable.
Yeah,
he's so fast and so technical in those 1-2 spaces,
Yeah.
and connects really well with everyone through the midfield, and his little inverted role makes great overlapping runs.
My only thing is, like, you know, everyone's progression is not always linear. You know, there's always
Right.
difference. But like, where the fuck was this like last year?
Or
Like, remember, like we were like crying
he's had
out for
2 loan
Jets.
spells.
So
Like,
much of it
Spence
is
could play
right
anything.
situation and right coach to believe in you and say the right things and allow you to play in the
But that
right
was the thing.
system.
Like, he wasn't playing under Ange at all. Like,
No.
Ange didn't play him whatsoever last year.
There-
And we were like,
there-
where did that guy go?
There was there was some of an interview with him about Jed, and I think there's a small percentage of he definitely could have just been overlooked, whether that be a training thing, whether that be. But Ange was honest and was like, look, yeah, you know, we weren't going to play him in Pedro's position originally. It was his spot to earn should he get that opportunity. But he's like, he's never once had an issue in training. He's a really good trainer. Always comes in with a great attitude and you know, great mindset. And he's like, it's been, you know, once we needed him and gave him that opportunity, he just took it by the reins. So I think you're right. But, you know, he's had 2 failed loan moves. Didn't play much originally when he was first signed. Like, he's been at the club 3 years, technically. So I'm so pumped for him, like on a person level. You know, I'm happy for him to get this spot and then just absolutely run with it. Like, first Premier League goal this weekend as a right back. He, you know, in a more tightly contested 4-1 finish than, you know, it looks on paper. That third goal was so necessary. It was just a little bit tighter, and Ipswich pushed hard. Honestly, Ipswich did not look that bad to me. You know, end of the day, it was just a couple moments of quality that took it over the line. And Vicario again, I can't believe I ever said Kinski was going to take his place. So that's full blown hand up. You know, that responsibility taken. I was wrong. Kinski could be a good keeper in the future. Vicario's just, he's something different.
I'd gladly take him.
I was going to say, you could jolly, honestly, I think Kinski might play really well for you guys right now, too.
I'd fucking take him, too.
Amen, brother. No, huge shout out to you, Hoof, on a big win. It's nice to see Sonny back to his best in that game.
Yeah.
We're going to shift
Also,
over.
big shout out to Hoof because he had to watch that game while doing the soccer pod. So we were like recording as the game was going on, and Hoove was having to like pay attention to the game / also give answers, and it was really fun to watch.
I was fighting for my life watching Omari Hutchison score to pull one back at 2-1. I was like, I said on the podcast, I was like, and Ipswich pulled one back. This is going to be interesting. Like, I tried so hard to just focus on the task at hand.
Yeah, the hosts of Soccer Pod were like, "Oh, you mean Ipswich is totally going to come back and tie this 2-2?" And then they like scored, and Hoove was like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah, I was like, I absolutely am not denying that possibility here.
And your reward is Man City on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Hey,
we beat them a bunch this year. We could just play teams from Manchester. I'd be all right.
All right, next up we had our boy Nicky, Chelsea with a 2-1 loss away at Villa. You started off hot, hotter than hot, and then it got cold as hell, cold as a witch's. Never mind, I can't say that, I'm a teacher. You got cold, brother. You got cold. So what were your emotions watching Chelsea score early and then give up 2 goals and lose?
Unfortunately, it's something that I've seen on repeat throughout the last couple of games for Chelsea. We come out looking pretty good for the first maybe 15 to 20 minutes. That's me being kind. It's more like 10. And we have the effort and we look sharp and we scored a goal in this one. Sometimes we don't, sometimes we do. But at Amsterdam, I'm pretty sure when we scored, I immediately looked at Hoove and said, this sucks because we can't hold a lead. It was probably one of the worst things that could have happened for us because I knew the rest of the game was not going to turn out the way it was going to turn out. I was thinking about it today. If you took clips of everything I've said in the last couple of podcasts, you could just replace them for this game as well. The only big one for me that was different is I need more from Cole. I think if he's the player that I think I want or we want him to be, he can't have the excuse of he doesn't have a striker, he doesn't have Nico Jackson. He needs to start creating more. I see that a lot on Twitter of like, oh, did Cole really need Nico that much? Like, what's going on?
Bruno Fernandes doesn't have a 9.
Hey, but we'll see. I definitely need more from him. I think he needs to step up in these games, especially in close games like this. It really shows the immaturity. We don't have a leader. We don't have a real captain out there. Reece James upset me. I think he did an okay job in the midfield because he had to play a whole different position. I don't know if you guys fully watched the game, but he was literally playing holding mid for us the entire game. He's just slower. I hate to say it. He's just not what he was. He's a step slower than what he used to be. It also sucks because he's our captain. So like someone who's getting you can see his frustration and like he knows that he's a step slower than what he was. And like that's not something we need from a captain right now. It's hard for anyone to look at anyone right now to get energy or inspiration. And that's where I'm saying Cole needs to step up because right now we have no leader. And I don't think he's the person that would be a leader as far as vocally and his insight and getting people cheered up, but I think he can do it in what he brings to the pitch with his ability. So I'm hoping that he can step up. We bought 5 goalies, and I would take any of your guys' goalies right now because Jesus Christ, Jurgensen cost us this game. He literally threw the ball into the net. I don't understand how that is even possible.
Nate Griffin's available. You can probably get
I'm not kidding you. I have played 2 full outdoor seasons with Nate Griffin, and I would 1,000% take him in net over the 2 that we've had.
I said it in the group, but that Asensio, he should save that. But Asensio to redirect that on goal when that's a fucking shot at him is insane.
Yeah, I agree. And I also think what Villa did in the offseason proved in this game. They got depth, they got those people that can come in and provide spark, and I think that's exactly what happened in this game. And I think it showed in the opposite for us. I mean, obviously, I'm sounding really arrogant because we spent so much money the past couple of transfer windows, but like we didn't do anything this transfer window, and we definitely needed a goalie and we definitely needed a striker. And the fact that Aston Villa went out and bought these players and immediately have impact in their games, I think shows when you go out and buy people in January.
Yeah, and I'm not a Chelsea fan, but I feel like you got to be happy with how Pedro Neto played because he was electric up top. His runs in behind were so good.
He was probably the only good outcome from this game. I thought he was the only one that had effort for the whole 90. I do agree with you. I love that he was playing more in the middle and Nkunku was playing more out wide. I could spend the next 30 minutes talking about how bad Nkunku is and how I want him off my team. He's just so disinterested. It's unbelievable. And I don't know if that's just playing for Chelsea or his lack of confidence right now, but like on the pitch, anytime he touches the ball, it looks like he doesn't want it. He's not commanding the ball at all. That's why I think Neto was able to shine so well was Nkunku got the hell out of the way. He literally just stood up on the left side and then Neto had free reign to do whatever the hell he wants. And I think it opened the space for him. But Nkunku has been I don't know why he still gets picked. I think we have
play the Mecca soundbite. No banter. Where's Mudryk for real?
He's still not with the team. I don't know if we've officially gotten the second test. I know I said it in the Mecca that I saw some article say that he had passed his second drug test, but I haven't heard anything official after that. The last thing I've seen is we were still waiting on results from his second drug test.
I do just think that he injects instant energy. That like,
you're right. We need anything at the moment, any bit of energy, like something. And I agree. Like, yes, he may not be like an automatic goal for us, but at least he's going to provide speed and taking defenders on, and hopefully it could be something that motivates. We need something, and I'm starting to. It's who's going to love this. I'm not thrilled with Maresca right now either. Like, I was all for him. I'm still all for him. I think it's really early, but like some of his decisions and some of his press conferences, I'm just like, shut up, just please shut up, and just like he's acting like it's okay. Like take some accountability and be like, we're Chelsea and we still want to win. Like,
been there, heard that before, my friend.
Yeah. It's playing broken records to you guys, but yeah, not great. I think these next results are huge for us, like absolutely huge. The fact that we've been playing this poorly and we're still 3 points off from third is absolutely insane to me. So the fact that we can still get some results against Southampton and some of these teams coming up, I'm hopeful for. But the play that we've put out on the pitch has not been that great.
Yeah, I mean, what was it, about a month and a half ago, we were talking Chelsea title race, and now it's like, it's
he said we sure were, weren't we?
It's all love, baby.
I haven't had any beef with Maresca. I just think it's like my whole bit has been he won the title with Leicester, right, or the championship, and like my interpretation was like all these Chelsea fans didn't really know who he was. He comes in and then he's all like, he's the best. There's no way he's not gonna be amazing. Like, you look at how great Leicester was last year, and I was like, God, he's gonna go in 6 months. He's literally not gonna stick around that long. I'm not worried.
I saw a stat that you'll love, Hoove. I've seen a bunch of stats of late. This wasn't even the one I was going to say, but one that blew my mind the other day was 4 shutouts in 26 games for Chelsea. Fucking great. So fucking great. The other one I saw was Pochettino in his time at Chelsea had 63 points in total. Maresca is currently at 43 points and has 12 games remaining. So we'll see if he gets to that.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
But hey, Sanchez is the guy, right? We trust Sanchez wholeheartedly.
I never said I trusted him wholeheartly.
No, that's Maresca. That's Maresca's quote.
Yeah, true.
No, he's still our guy.
I don't like what he's been saying in the presser. He's interesting. I think he's just saving face and we'll see where it goes.
Brother, I trust Sanchez like I trust a cinnamon lip pillow. There's no trust there. There's no trust there, brother. Hey, so I know Winks isn't here, but we got to bring up Arsenal losing to West Ham. It's a big deal for the title race.
Declan Rice derby.
But the Declan Rice derby is right. But
you should have signed for a big club. You should have signed for a big club. You should have signed for a big club.
No, what's funny to me is like what was it, like Tuesday night? Like me, Griff, and Dobes are playing a couple COD games, right? And Griff's like, "Oh, we're at home, West Ham. Just count it, easy 3 points." And he's saying it over and over, easy 3 points, easy 3 points. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, bro, West Ham, man, you're about to get pootered by Pooter, man. Like, be careful. And then I texted Griff right after the game. I just said Griff with the big eyeball emojis. And then Doves, he said a couple things back. He was pissed. And rightly so, bro. I know they're going through a lot of stuff with their forwards and they don't have healthy players, but like, you're
injury crisis. Worst injuries crisis we've had in 12 years. Oh,
shut the fuck up. You're like,
grow up.
Realistically, this is a big loss in Arsenal's hopes. And Dobes and I were talking yesterday about that. Like, they have a game in
fellas. It's chalk.
Yeah. Liverpool has the title.
I mean, we might be celebrating the Anfield parade a little bit early. Just a little bit early. If
Butch is even saying it. Wow.
If Arsenal doesn't figure it out, bro, like
you're a solid injury away from Crystal Palace, dude.
All I have to say is one thing that perfectly describes Arsenal was as we were at Amsterdam, there was 2 Arsenal fans leaving, and they were in matching full track sweat shoes.
Oh, I
Dude.
hope these guys. I hope they listen to this pod. They're yelling at us
Fucking
out of their car
matching.
window.
Matching
Yeah.
Arsenal full gear tracksuits.
To be
Hilarious.
fair, there was a overserved Spurs fan behind us throughout the entirety of the podcast.
Who wasn't
I will
who?
say.
Who wasn't who?
It was not me. It was not me. This man was overserved by 9:30, 10 a.m. And I mean, he was letting these guys out the front door.
He was saying all that I was thinking. Let's be real.
I'd take an overserved any fan over a full wank in a tracksuit.
Oh my! They were matching. Oh,
Yeah.
I was dead. I literally I looked at Dobbs. I go.
Yeah,
I was like,
I walked outside and asked. I lost the bet.
Lost the bet.
Wait, are we talking full kit wankers right now?
But they
Like,
had the
not
full on.
even kits,
They had the full on
tracksuits.
Arsenal tracksuit. Two of them matching.
No
Jacket,
way.
pants.
That's great.
Yeah.
Oh my
That's so funny.
That's
But
so-
it's a huge loss. It really is. And like I just think that we say it all the time, but there is going to come a time where Arteta's going to have to really answer some questions of like, you have every opportunity to like cement yourself into greatness in this league.
It's just Arsenal, brother. It's their culture.
Yeah, well, like that's the thing, Nick. I am in agreement with you. Like there was never a thought in my mind that they were going to do it because they just had the
Ever.
chance to, and I don't know. I just think that what it's going to take for them to go from good to great, it's just
I'll put an asterisk next to Winks and Griff, but the majority of Arsenal fans, if you were to ask them, they're on the same level as Real Madrid. They might think they're Real Madrid. Like they might think that they have won the Champions League 17 years in a row with how they act sometimes.
yeah,
It's
it's
unbelievable.
insane. It's insane.
Miles Lewis, what's his face? 12 games, 2 red cards in his senior career. Nice.
I love the
The
double
red
red.
co- yeah.
Double
The
red.
double red.
Oh,
Yeah, it's so funny.
Mm-hmm.
fucking hate Arsenal. Sorry.
I'm in agreement. All in all, huge loss for Arsenal, which takes us to the game of the weekend in terms of powerhouses. City and Liverpool. Liverpool 2-0 over City. Oh, you guys are assholes. You guys are assholes, man. You guys playing that shit. Hey, hold on a second. Hold on a second. Hey, I was not expecting that, man. Oh my God.
For
For all of you
visual listeners.
Obviously, for all of you that are going to be listening to this that are on Spotify, they all just turned their cameras off when I fucking brought that up. That was actually the
Yeah,
funniest
because we
thing
don't
I've
want
ever
to fucking
seen.
talk about it.
No,
So that was Liverpool. So that was Liverpool City, fellas. Good chat.
Yeah.
Bro, City are so bad, man.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm
They're
gonna keep
so
it.
bad.
I agree, and I think
That's a big game.
I wasn't gonna talk about like Salah and stuff. We always talk about him. I was just gonna talk about defensively. We were very, very smart, very intelligent. No risks, no mistakes. We were very, very good defensively against a City team that does have star talent, quote unquote, in almost every position. I just want to talk about how good Soboslai was. I mean, this guy was phenomenal.
Yeah, he's a baller.
He's a baller, man, and he's something that he gives us a different dynamic as to how we play. You know, the tireless running, the motor that we have in that attacking midfield position with him when he's on like that. He was by far player of the game for me. Just such an intelligent, world class player. I love him. I know you guys don't want to talk too long after the camera thing there, so I was just going to keep it brief. I agree with Henry though. Like City are terrible. City are terrible.
Dude, going back to Liverpool, it's been the same since the beginning of the year. Like you guys have
A wagon.
packed in's not the right phrase for it, but your defensive stability is unrivaled.
Yeah.
And like I'm not gonna sit here and just glaze this all, but like to do that and like, you know, Man City had a majority of the possession. They had a couple decent opportunities. Not one time did I feel that they were gonna get a goal.
Right.
Like
When you're
it never was threatening.
And also, I think one thing that Liverpool have built this year is like something that kind of Dove was talking about before is like they're so defensively sound that the more they're in these games, the more confidence their front three get, and the like that's all you need as like an attacking player is to be in a game, to have an opportunity to impact the game. And as long as Liverpool has that defense, like, I don't think that's ever going to be. And obviously, with the front three they have as well, like going forward, they're always at a chance of scoring goals.
Yeah.
I also, I truly believe the young, I can't even pronounce his name, but he's from Uzbekistan, the center back for Manchester City. He has gone through probably the worst start to being on a new team that I've ever seen, because this man has started, like, he's played 90 in 4 games, and they have allowed 10 goals.
Yeah, that's bad.
That's awful.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He
but
is
like
young, too.
what I don't understand is that, remember we like 2 months ago we talked about Trent leaving for Real Madrid, and one of the main things that we talked about was like how low risk that was, because you have Connor Bradley, and when you introduce a new kid into a team full of established players, it's like low risk. That's what I don't understand with this kid, where it's like everyone around him is like an established international. They've been there, they've done that. Most of them have won the treble. Most of them have won multiple, back-to-back leagues. This kid comes in, and like the whole team around him, you would think it's fucking Manchester United out there. Like, it's just like, you would think that you could introduce someone like that into that squad, and he's just floundering.
This was probably his best game too, frankly.
I know.
Like, in terms
He
of
was
his
still a
performances
step.
recently, he was a step, but it's also like Dobes, what you mentioned with that, with your guys' issue, it's less of a 9 issue, more of a squad issue. If you bring in a Man City defense that's already leaking goals left and right, with the expectation that this kid's going to come in and sweep it up and just help save the day, that's so much pressure on him off the rip.
Mm-hmm.
The kids are gonna crack. That is what it is. And at the quality of play that Pep demands, and the history that they have within the last 3 seasons alone, like that's a heavy ask for anybody, for sure. But I still think there's a player there. I'm not doubting Man City and Pep's talent ID. It's just situationally this time, this squad, it's not working.
I completely agree. I was saying not more of his quality, just more of like how unlucky this man is. Like,
he's been
thrown into the side at that age, and like he's played Liverpool, Real Madrid, Newcastle, Real Madrid, Arsenal, Chelsea.
Oh my God. Welcome to the Prem, brother.
Welcome, brother.
Yeah. I will say what we've historically seen over this last decade, or I guess a little less, but in a Man City squad, if you look at this 11 in the game, it's typically full of big personalities, full of leaders all over the field, between a Ruben Diaz, between a Kyle Walker, a Rodri. This lineup,
De Bruyne,
like De Bruyne, is like, the drop off needs to be studied from what he was. But like, this 11 just doesn't have that personality, that leader. If you look at that back four, there's nobody in it. If you want Ederson to do that job, it's tough for him to do it from the goalkeeping position. Really, it was on Kevin De Bruyne, not only to be what he's typically been, that just creator, but he was really the only senior leader on the field. And I think all over the field, when you look at Virgil, when you look at McAllister, even Slobo job a little bit, like Trent, but it's big personality.
Don't put Trent in that.
But it's big personality after big personality. These guys have been in those games and done those things, to where if you kind of look at this Man City squad all over the field, not a lot of them are part of sort of this dynastic run that they've been on over the last 5-6 years. It was kind of a bunch of just, not saying they're not quality players, but kind of scrubs in what we had seen from Man City that we've got to know. And that's not to discredit Liverpool. I think it's just a fact.
Yeah.
The Foden thing's wild to me too.
Another one. Yeah.
That's and someone on saying like Kevin De Bruyne has been in and around this team, done huge things, carried this team when they needed it. He's not that guy anymore. Same with Gundogan. Huge player for this team for a long time, is this established. Foden was in and amongst those ranks, albeit really young, but he was balling with them.
Mm-hmm.
Where's that step up from him to do, anything, bro?
Yeah.
He has been lifeless.
They're literally trying to give him Kevin De Bruyne's job. They're really like, please take this and run with it, and he's just not doing it.
I also think they should have kept Marmouche because most of the game, Foden was the farthest player forward and kind of just got lost. I think they should have kept Marmouche as sort of that focal point and let Foden create, but I don't know if it would have mattered.
Very good.
Yeah, he just needs to learn how to stay on side. He's offside so much.
Yes,
like
but I think that's almost like excitement and fucking his speed.
Yeah.
Oh, but you'll get a kick out of this. I did. My girlfriend was at a conference this weekend. She was sat next to a Liverpool fan from Liverpool, and she was like, "Yeah, I just found out he's a Liverpool supporter." I was like, "Oh, let him know that Mo Salah's washed and Darwin Nunez is the future." She responds. She responds in quotes. She said, "Tell him to go fuck himself."
That's so funny.
That's so funny. No, I was gonna say too. Like, last thing I'll say is, Dobes and I were on the mic as the game was starting, and Dobes goes, "Are you ready for Trent to get cooked by Doku?" And then 90 seconds into the game, Trent outpaces him, and I was like, "Eat shit, Dobby."
Doku had the most dribbles in the Prem this weekend. It was 11.
Doku finished the game with 15 dribbles, bro. 15 dribbles, bro. I was like,
Trent 11 times.
That's crazy, dude. Anyway, hey, that's it for the Prem this week. The last thing we'll do, we'll keep it very short. We're just going to do the Mecca of Banter Footy Ballers of the weekend, a player that stood out amongst for the Premier League or just Europe or the MLS. I'm going to throw a name in the hat. I would love for him to come to Liverpool in the offseason. Brian Mbeumo from Brentford is a dog, boys. Mm-hmm. He had a goal and assist, which brings his tally to 15 goals and 4 assists in the Premier League. Unbelievable. For a Brentford side, he is so good.
That goal was nice too. He skinned whoever that defender was and just laced it left corner.
No, he is.
I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna do 2. I'm gonna do my first one is real.
Don't take 2.
Turn back the clock. Oh, Luka Modric.
Yes, sir.
I literally was going to step in and be like, Dope's is going to have this one, but Luka Modric.
No. My other one is Anthony. World class run and an assist, and then proceeded to get sent off like 60 minutes later. So yeah,
so funny.
Love it.
For me, man, I want to give him his flowers. Neymar, a goal and 2 assists in the performance last night, an Olympico goal. It's so fun to watch him play. I mean, like, it's not being fully streamed. I can't watch all 90 minutes, but when you see these 10-minute highlight compilations and he's just having fun again, I know it's in the Brazilian league. It's just so good to see. So I'm giving him his flowers.
It's a great shout.
I've got a rogue one.
Come on. Come on.
It's going to be some Saudi player that...
Yeah, I'm betting on the Saudi league a lot.
It's going to be El Nasser, left wing back or something.
So
it's
I'm
Alex
trying
Telles
to find...
for what it's worth. That's an Al Nasser left wing back.
Julian Alvarez had 2 this weekend.
He did. Mm-hmm.
For Atletico.
Big game tomorrow with Atletico Barcelona. Yeah.
Big game. Emmanuel Lath plays for Atlanta United, 20 million purchase from Middlesbrough, I do believe. Bald. He scored a double for Atlanta United with Miguel Perez. Not Miguel Perez, good fourth. Miguel Marone. Miguel Marone on the wing. He
Miggy Perez wishes.
Oh my God, yeah, he does. He absolutely dunked on Montreal, and that is going to be a guy that we want Klaus to turn into sooner rather than later. I don't know why that one caught my eye, but anytime you move a league and bag a double and dunk on kids, worth pointing out.
Yeah, he deserves his flowers.
Bro, shout out Atlanta. What'd they say, 64,000 or something like that?
65. Yeah. They were the 3rd highest attended football match in the world on Saturday.
That's insane.
Good for them.
Yeah.
Good for them.
Yeah, that's really awesome. Cool.
Yeah, my 2 were Modric and Alvarez. Turn back the clock for Luka one time. I thought he had a great performance and a
honorable mention for. I was going to say honorable mention for Isak.
Dude, they scored 4 goals in 10 minutes.
That was nuts.
It was insane.
That was nuts.
Just opened up the faucet and the fucking floodgates came.
And then Nuno Santos refused to shake. What's his face's name?
Eddie Howe.
Eddie Howe.
Really?
Yeah, I saw
Maybe-
that. He did. He walked
Interesting.
away. Yeah, he
Wow.
walked away.
What a bitch.
Yeah. Okay, that's gonna do it for this week's episode of the Mecca of Banter podcast. It was an absolute blast with these guys. As always, catch us on the socials. We'll have some content out this week. We're just bros being blokes. Don't forget it, baby. Cheers.
Don't forget it.
Tune
Cheers,
into
fellas.
tune into the soccer dads pod. We'll
Yes.
post everything that comes out. That was a lot of fun. I want to
A
delve
lot of
into
fun.
It was
Thanks,
awesome.
Jay.
Live in Amsterdam.
That
Great
was
guys.
authentic. You're gonna hear some Sol Campbell comments from Spurs fans that were chanting in the background. There's a lot of
It's
interesting
good.
stuff.
Yes, sir.
Cheers, fellas.
fellas.
Cheers.
Gods.